2020, Central Americans were already coping with the effects of a global pandemic, with not one, but two consecutive hurricanes, Eta and Iota, impacted the region. In Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala, the hurricanes have catastrophic consequences on local populations, critical infrastructure, crops, and private assets. One thing that was quite evident from both hurricanes is that poverty in Central America continues to have a spatial dimension, with vulnerable populations enduring a fraction of the economic losses caused by disasters, but bearing the brunt of the impact. For the World Bank, this means that efforts to reduce disaster risks and poverty go hand in hand. Our response to Honduras and Nicaragua included the preparation of 2 emergency recovery credits in record time. First, in Honduras, the preparation was particularly fast, with the bank team working closely with a fully dedicated government on the preparation of $150 million investment project to support response, reconstruction, and recovery needs. The project was submitted to the board within 3 weeks of the hurricanes, and it would finance the resilient rehabilitation and reconstruction of some 200 public and community works, the restoration and improvement of public services for 800 people, the provision of emergency response and relief services to 100,000 people, and the distribution of food to 72,000 people. It also aims at strengthening institutional capacity in the country to manage resilient and inclusive reconstruction and recovery from disasters. But how was the team able to respond so quickly? There are 3 key aspects. Number 1, a strong client engagement and deep understanding of the client needs and capacity. Number 2, clear guidance and management support to balance quality, flexibility, and urgency. And 3, leverage of the bank experience, country knowledge to develop framework projects and streamline project preparation. Second, in Nicaragua, the preparation was completed within 2 months of the event. The $80 million project will support the country's effort in the Caribbean Coast Autonomous Regions. We were impacted by the compound effects of both hurricanes. The autonomous regions have the highest incidence of extreme poverty in the country, making the population, which includes many indigenous people and Afro-descendants, especially vulnerable to external shocks. The project will also finance the rehabilitation and resilience reconstruction of prioritized public and community infrastructure and housing, and the restoration of income of affected population in critical economic activities, with a focus on the small-scale fishery sector. In the case of Nicaragua, it's also worth mentioning the increased capacity of the government to conduct damage and loss assessments. For Eta and Iota, the Nicaraguan government assessed the damage and losses within 3 weeks of the hurricanes, informing the timely mobilization of funds and early actions to our recovery plan, and providing key information for the project. As we're now seeing with the coronavirus, disasters expose existing social inequalities across the world. So how does disaster recovery look like in the face of a global pandemic? Here are our 4 takeaways. 1, while the World Bank is not designed to be the first line of humanitarian assistance, the mobilization of financial support and expertise is essential to rapid recovery, especially in this case when funds were mobilized soon after the disaster. Both projects provide an opportunity to transform crises triggered by disaster into opportunities to strengthen existing portfolios, continue building in-country capacity to ready response to disasters. Number 2, a post-disaster reconstruction through the lenses of building back better has the potential to reduce the risk of future disasters and increase the adaptive capacity of critical sectors. Number 3, safe and sustainable development that integrates climate consideration, which has been proactively done in both projects, will promote productive and high value-added activities and potentially contribute to reducing inequality and poverty. And number 4, both projects are putting in place mechanisms and ingraining in the project design elements for an inclusive recovery and to ensure that no one is left behind.